DreAllday.com.
Shout out to people hitting their head on the rim. My name's Dre Baldwin. For those who don't know me, I come from the city of Philadelphia. I live in Miami. Background professional basketball player. Now I'm a professional speaker. I've done 3 TED Talks. I do coaching and consulting on the same topics that I'm going to talk about here. I've written 7 books. I've done 5,000 YouTube vids, 4,000 blog posts. I talk about bulletproofing your mindset, confidence, goals, ambition, getting yourself seen and known, exposure, building your brand, and making things happen in life, taking initiative instead of waiting for things to happen to or for you. And this morning I want to talk about when less is more. When is less more? Now I talked about before that sometimes that there's a quality in doing quantity. Sometimes more is more, sometimes less is more. So I'm going to tell you how to identify when in your life that less is more. Some people might be thinking, well, Dre, sometimes you talk about quantity, you talk about a whole bunch of volume that you do. So I'm going to explain this so y'all can understand how to think critically and when to use less is more and when more is more. So the first thing you got to do to understand when less is more, because we're talking about optimizing in life. Y'all know what optimizing means. Optimizing, shout out to people watching their first stream. Optimizing means you're finding the things that are working and then cutting everything else out the picture so you can only do the things that work and do more of that. It's kind of like the 80-20 rule. You heard of that? Also known as Pareto's principle. 20% of the inputs are producing 80% of the outputs. 20% of the people are producing 80% of the sales or 80% of the problems, or 20% of your problems are really 80% of everything that's happening to you. So I'm going to explain to you how that works right now. Number one thing you got to do to know when less is more in life is that you must examine your life, examine the things that you're doing, identify the things that are producing results. Like I just said, so identifying the things that are producing results. So if you look at the last 24 hours of your life, right? Look at the last 24 hours of your life and ask yourself, which activities am I doing that are actually producing the results that I want? Because I guarantee you, it's not everything you're doing is producing the result. It's probably about 20%. This is just the law, the principle. About 20% of the things you're doing are actually getting you what you want. When you're at work, 20% of the things you're doing at work are actually making you money. You play a sport, 20% of your workout is actually getting you better. The other 80%, is getting you a sweat, but it's not making you better. So understand what are the things that are actually producing results. Identify those things and do more of those things and less of everything else. Do only the things that are producing results. That's number one. Number 2, examine everything else you're doing. Examine everything you're doing and eliminate all time wasters. And a time waster is anything that's not producing a result. So first of all, identify what it is that produces a result for you in life. Once you know what those things are, everything that's not producing a result, those have to be eliminated. Every person, every place, everything, every activity that's not getting you closer to your goal, whatever your goal is. Now, if you don't have any goals, then this doesn't apply to you. You got to get some goals first. Once you got some goals, identify what is getting you towards the goal, do more of that, and eliminate everything else. Don't do less of it, do none of it. Eliminate it completely. And here's the third thing. Stop thinking that more is always more. More is not always more, only in some circumstances. And some people might be listening to this and say, well, it's kind of a conflict, because I've talked about the quality of quantity, the quality of doing something in bunches, the quality of producing in huge amounts of volume. And there is value in that. What all of you had to understand is that you must develop the ability to think critically in your life and know when it's time to say, you know what, I need to eliminate these things and do less so I can get more result. And when there's a time to say, you know what, I found the thing that's working, I need to do more quantity so that I can get even more of a result. You have to learn how to think critically to identify when it's time for less and when it's time for more. That is a skill you must develop. And for those of you who want help with that, I'm going to be doing webinars and group coaching that's going to be available to all of you probably by this summer, so that all of you can get that. Y'all can get more critical thinking skills. I'll help you along the way on how you can start to develop that ability if you never thought about doing it before. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as DreAllday. I have a podcast, I've written books, I got a bunch of YouTube vids, I write blogs, I do TED Talks, I'm on all the social media, and I do respond to emails, I do respond to snaps. I'm going to tell you where you can find all that information I just said. It's all on my website. My website is called DreAllday.com. DreAllday.com is my website. Is the link in my Periscope bio. So if you want to email me, you want to follow me on any social media, you want to send me a snap, which I will respond to, you want to sign up for any of my online courses, which I do have. Bulletproof Mindset is all about the mental game. I got a people skills one, it's about dealing with people, and I got one called Get the Girl for you young men interested in having more success with the females. Those 3 courses, all on my website. My email address on my website. You want to set up a call with me, all on my website. My webinars on my website. My TED Talks on my website. Links to my books, my YouTube videos, all my blogs, all of that's on my website. It's called DreAllday.com. If you listen to podcasts, subscribe to my podcast. It's an everyday podcast. It's only been out for about a month or so you can start from the beginning. We got about almost 40 episodes out. Make sure you check that, subscribe, leave it a 5-star rating. And again, y'all hit me in whatever social media you got. Follow me on there. Hit me up. I will respond to your questions. So if you got a question I haven't addressed in the comments, I know I don't always respond to comments while I'm talking. Y'all can hit me there and I will reply to you, or you can email me. Everybody have a great Tuesday. Work on your game. DreAllday.com. What could you not do with more confidence? Less attention to the negativity of other people, more focus on your goals than nothing else, and not letting unfortunate circumstances slow you down. Would all of those help you out? Well, go to DreAllday.com/bulletproof. Check out my new 8-week course called Bulletproof Mindset. Get started, and I'll see you over there. Work on your game. If you're on Snapchat, hit me on the Snap. My Snap name is @Dre Baldwin. You already know how that works. And I got a podcast, if you didn't know. It is called Work on Your Game. It is an everyday podcast where I talk about getting yourself into the right mindset, that bulletproof mindset. Getting yourself seen, heard, known. Getting the exposure you want and making things happen in your life instead of waiting for things to happen to or for you. Subscribe to that podcast when you're on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Make sure you check it every single day. Make sure you're subscribed so you catch the heat. Work on your game.
Dre Ball. I feel like Dre Ball. I feel like Dre Ball. I'm ballin'. I feel like Dre